Before you try to drive the car, we need to get what makes it tick.
That's a good way to put it. To really appreciate what the Diamond Sutra offers, you need to grasp its core theory, the why behind it all.
And Master Jingkong's commentary points us to this idea called I manifesting substance. It's all about showing that fundamental nature, the ground the sutra stands on.
Without that grounding, the teachings might seem, well, maybe a bit disconnected, perhaps. Understanding this substance really builds confidence.
It shows they're not just abstract thoughts, right? They're rooted in something solid.
Precisely. Rooted in a deep understanding of reality itself.
Okay, so let's get to it. What is this foundational theory? What's the substance? Not just for the Diamond Sutra, but like for all Mahayana scriptures.
Well, the central idea, the core principle, is the true nature of all phenomena. That's considered the substance.
Okay.
And importantly, this isn't presented as, some philosophical speculation. It's framed as the actual reality, the truth of the universe and our lives within it.
Okay, that sounds significant. Can we break that down a bit? It might feel a little abstract for listeners.
Oh, absolutely. It's actually incredibly direct and relevant to you right now.
Yeah.
Just means, well, everything, all phenomena, all things that appear to exist. Tiny particles, vast galaxies, this room, you listening, all of it.
Got it. All things.
Then you means real or true, and you means appearance or form. So putting it together is the true real state or appearance of everything.
So the teachings are ultimately about seeing ourselves in the world as they really are, not just how they seem on the surface.
Exactly that. It makes it very personal, doesn't it? It's about your own experience, your own environment.
It does. So what's the key difference then between someone who understands this J and someone who doesn't?
The commentary puts it simply. It's the difference between delusion and awakening.
Delusion and awakening.
Right. Ordinary beings, called Shay, are seen as deluded because they don't perceive this true nature. They're caught in appearances. Buddhas and bodhisattvas, on the other hand, are awakened because they do see it clearly.
So the difference isn't some kind of inherent good versus bad thing.
Not at all. It's purely about the clarity of understanding, the perspective, seeing clearly versus seeing through, well, a fog of misperceptions. The labels, che, ordinary and holy, they're just concepts arising from that difference in understanding.
Right, okay. It's a shift in seeing, not a change in fundamental being. Now, focusing back on the Diamond Sutra itself, are there different viewpoints on what its core substance actually is?
Yes, there are. And Master Jingkong discusses two really key interpretations. First, there's the view of the great Tiantai Master Z.
Okay, Master Z.
He pinpointed the core in that incredibly powerful line, Sam, which means if one sees all appearances as non-appearances, then one sees the thus come one. For Master Z, that phrase was the theoretical bedrock of the whole sutra.
Wow. Seeing all appearances as non-appearances.
Yeah.
That makes you stop and think. It flips our usual perception completely on its head.
It does, and that's the point. Then the second major view comes from a highly respected lay Buddhist, Jiang Weinong.
Jiang, Weinong, okay.
He proposed the arising of true reality as the sutra's substance.
Arising of true reality. What does arising mean here? Like creating something new?
Not exactly creating, no, here. Here signifies more like an awakening to true reality. It's that moment of realization, moving out of delusion and grasping the true nature of the universe and life. So you see, both views point towards this fundamental transformation in understanding reality.
Whether it's seeing differently or reality arising in our awareness, it's about that perceptual shift. Now, Master Jingkong really hammers home this phrase. True reality is precisely non-appearance. That non part seems absolutely central. Can we dig into that?
Yes, let's do that. That hen is crucial. The commentary explains it signifies hen, which means everything is negated together.
Everything.
Everything. It's not just saying, oh, this isn't real, but that is. It's a radical letting go of all the dualistic concepts our minds instinctively create and cling to. Like emptiness versus existence, or something existing versus not existing, or being both, or being neither. All these mental boxes.
So it negates all those categories we use to define things.
Exactly. It's a complete sweep. And here's the really subtle part. The commentary adds, hun, meaning even the negation itself, that concept of non, shouldn't become another fixed idea we hold on to.
Whoa. So you don't just let go of is, you even let go of is not. It's like total non-attachment.
You've got it. It's profoundly non-attached. Because as the commentary emphasizes, this true reality, it's just inherently the way it is. Fundamentally so, truly so. It wasn't created. It doesn't depend on our ideas about it.
It just is, beyond our descriptions.
Right. It's actually beyond any name or label we can give it. So the term 8, true reality itself, is just a convenience, a provisional name. We're sort of forcing a name onto it just so we can talk about it and teach it. It's like pointing a finger at the moon.
The finger isn't the moon, so don't get stuck on the word 8 itself. It's a pointer, not the destination.
Precisely, because the moment we start analyzing, discriminating conceptually, getting attached to the idea of 8, that's exactly when we obstruct our own understanding. We move further away from it. Clinging even to the word 8 is missing the point.
The words are just tools to help us get the real meaning behind them, right? Like that phrase, 8 wanting to understand the Buddha's true meaning.
Exactly, and that true understanding requires letting go of the discrimination, letting go of the attachment.
This feels connected to that idea of the 4 fundamental statements. Emptiness, existence, both, either. Our minds tend to fall into those traps.
They do. Our thinking naturally gravitates towards these categories. But the commentary warns that holding on to any one of these limited views, or even combinations of them, leads to what's called Jiang, like hundreds of faulty views stemming from these 4 basic positions. And that is what generates delusion, discrimination, and attachment.
So the Stag is really telling us to relinquish our grip on all those mental boxes.
Yes, break free from those limitations. It's saying reality isn't confined to those categories.
It makes sense. Our usual thinking builds walls, and true reality is outside them. How does this connect, then, to how we usually see appearance and substance or essence? We often think of them as different.
Well, that's exactly where the core misunderstanding lies, according to the commentary. We perceive them as separate realities. We think appearances definitively exist on their own, and maybe we think the underlying substance is empty, but as a separate thing. We get caught up in the changing appearances.
And see that as the main reality.
Right, and we fail to see their fundamental unity. They aren't 2 distinct things. Appearance and substance, form and emptiness, they're inseparable aspects of the one reality, like 2 sides of a single coin.
Okay, so what happens, what's the shift when someone starts to see that unity, when the delusion quiets down?
When those delusive patterns of thought, the discrimination, the attachment, begin to cease, then the realization dawns that, substance, appearance, and function are actually one integrated reality.
One integrated whole.
Yes, a seamless, interconnected whole. The commentary uses this beautiful term, a community of life. This interconnected whole is the Dharma body. It is our true self, and it is the factual reality of 2. Everything is interdependent.
Okay, I can almost hear some listeners thinking, hold on, how can all individual beings, all separate things, actually be one? Well, it's a challenging idea.
It absolutely is challenging from our usual perspective, and the commentary acknowledges that. It's difficult to grasp as long as we mistake these fleeting, illusory appearances for the ultimate solid reality. Our ingrained sense of being a separate, independent self makes this unity seem counterintuitive, even impossible.
So if it's so hard to grasp intellectually, what's needed? What are the inner conditions required to actually understand these deep teachings about need?
This is critical. The commentary points to 3 essential qualities of mind: a sincere, genuine mind, a pure, undefiled mind, and equanimous, unbiased mind.
Sincerity, purity, equanimity.
Exactly. And these aren't just nice ideas. They're directly linked to the core principles of practice found in the title of the Infinite Life Sutra: purity, equanimity, and awakening. These mental states are the very soil in which understanding can grow.
Can you say a bit more about what pure and equanimous mean practically?
Sure. Purity means being free from mental defilements, things like the constant pull of our 7 emotions, the craving generated by the 5 desires, and all the sticky attachments that bind our minds.
Okay, freedom from that inner noise and clinging.
Yes. And kurina, equanimity, means being free from all forms of discrimination. No us versus them. No judgments based on high or low, good or bad, like or dislike. It's seeing without those biases.
Seeing things as they are without imposing our preferences.
Right. And the commentary loops back here saying that truly leaving behind delusion, discrimination, and attachment is what leads to genuine purity, equanimity, and ultimately awakening.
Mhm.
A mind still caught up in these. That's described as a deluded mind. It simply can't see clearly.
This concept of leaving behind keeps surfacing.
Yeah.
How does that work in, everyday life? We can't just stop interacting with things.
That's a very important point. Here is closely tied to pu, which means not grasping, not seizing upon things mentally. The Buddha said, leaving all appearances is precisely all dharmas. It is reality itself. So tu is about that mental non-clinging, not discriminating against or becoming attached to appearances in your mind.
Okay, so it's an inner stance.
Exactly. But, and this is crucial, the commentary clarifies that while this inner non-attachment is key, you can't just abandon engagement with the world on the practical level. You can't just check out.
Why not? What happens then?
Doing that, becoming totally passive or disengaged, leads to a kind of nihilism, a trap the commentary calls falling into emptiness, but in a negative, unproductive way.
Okay, so it's about finding that balance, being inwardly detached, but still outwardly engaged, like a middle way.
Precisely. The core principle for practice is given as true, not grasping at appearances, remaining unmoved like the thus come one, like the Buddha, meaning internally stable, not constantly swayed. Practically, this involves consciously resisting the pull of the five desires, attractive sights, sounds, smells, tastes, textures, and the six dusts, their objects. It means not getting hooked by the craving for fame or status or possessions.
It's about training the mind to stay steady, regardless of what's happening outside.
Exactly. Cultivating that inner stillness and balance, even amidst chaos or temptation. And the commentary stresses this isn't just for one type of practice. It's fundamental whether you're practicing Pure Land, Chan meditation, or studying doctrines deeply. It underpins success in all of them.
It sounds like a continuous practice of awareness, really. Paying attention to how we react and choosing non-attachment. You mentioned the Buddha begging for food.
Yeah.
How does that fit in, even after enlightenment?
Ah, yes. That image of the Buddha again, putting on his robes, holding his bowl, going into the city to receive food offerings. It's presented as a perfect example of how so. Even in his fully awakened state, he seamlessly engaged in the ordinary activities of life without any inner attachment or aversion to the appearances of the world. He wasn't separate from it, but he wasn't bound by it.
I see. Detachment in action.
Yes. And the commentary also brings up two other guiding principles here. Take suffering as your teacher, learn from life's difficulties, and take the precepts, the ethical guidelines, as your teacher. These help build the strength to resist those external pulls and maintain inner stability. And this applies whether you're a monk or nun or a lay person living in the world.
That's very practical. Use challenges and ethics as guides. Okay, let's circle back briefly to Jan Weinong's idea of the arising of true reality. You said Jing is beyond names. Does that apply to Ji too?
It does. Just like Yi itself, the experience of its arising, that moment of awakening, ultimately transcends language. The commentary says, Dohiver, there's really no perfect word for it, so we provisionally, almost reluctantly call it arising or birth. It's just another pointer towards an experience that's beyond our usual concepts.
So words are indispensable guides, but we have to be careful not to mistake the guide for the actual place. How do the different kinds of wisdom in words and wisdom of contemplation help us navigate this towards gear?
Well, the wisdom embodied in the scriptures and teachings acts as the Buddha's skillful means. It uses words to point us towards the factual truth of reality. But, and this is heavily emphasized, just reading or hearing the words, just intellectual understanding, isn't enough.
It's not enough just to get it conceptually.
No. Real transformation comes through engaging sileni, the wisdom of contemplation or observation. We need to use our own wisdom to look directly at reality. This soul, or observing, isn't just a casual look. It means examining things closely, carefully, with wisdom, not through the filter of our emotions and habitual thinking patterns.
So it's an active, wise seeing, not just thinking about things.
Precisely. It's through this sustained, wise observation of all phenomena that we gradually perceive the truth for ourselves. And it's through this full that the wisdom of true reality itself fully manifests, which is what leads to the soul, the other shore, enlightenment.
Can you clarify that difference between emotional consciousness and wisdom?
Yes. Is our ordinary mind, driven by discrimination, judging, comparing, constantly arising thoughts and attachments, clinging, aversion. In contrast, is characterized by non-discrimination, a stillness where fixed thoughts don't constantly arise and solidify, and non-attachment.
And you need a certain state of mind to practice this wise observation.
Absolutely. The commentary is very clear. Zen requires that pure mind and equanimous mind we talked about. If the mind is agitated by discrimination and attachment, it's like trying to see your reflection in muddy, turbulent water. You just can't perceive the Buddha's true meaning clearly.
So even if someone can explain the sutra really eloquently,
If it's coming from that state of awe, that diluted understanding, it's still just considered a worldly view. It might sound good, but it doesn't lead to liberation. It just keeps the wheels of karma turning. True Dharma, the commentary insists, is about practice, not just clever talk.
but if the mind is pure and equanimous,
Then, wonderfully, everything becomes Dharma. Even ordinary worldly phenomena, when seen with a mind free from deluded thoughts, can reveal the truth. Conversely, without that pure mind, even studying profound scriptures doesn't lead to genuine understanding. So, applying effort correctly and studying the Diamond Sutra is crucial, focusing on cultivating the mind, not just accumulating knowledge. Otherwise, it's wasted effort.
okay. Now, the commentary uses that striking analogy of diamond for the wisdom in this sutra, both the words and the contemplation. Why diamond? What makes that analogy fit so well?
It's a powerful image. The diamond is used because this wisdom, this prajna, has the power to ibukutta. It enables us to become detached from all appearances.
Not just worldly things.
No, not just worldly attachments like wealth or fame, but even attachment to dharma concepts themselves, to spiritual states, to the idea of enlightenment. It cuts through all clinging.
Okay, so it detaches from everything. What else?
And like a diamond, which is incredibly hard and can cut through other substances, this wisdom can it eliminates the deep-rooted illusion of a separate self-view. It cuts off the afflictions like greed, anger, ignorance at their root. And by doing so, it allows true reality to arise or manifest within us.
So the diamond cuts through the illusions, the afflictions, the sense of self.
Exactly. It shatters those obscurations. And the commentary clarifies something important here. This innate wisdom of true reality isn't something external we gain. It's already inherent within all beings.
It's already there.
Yes, but it's covered up. Our false self-view and afflictions are like thick clouds obscuring the bright sun of our inherent wisdom. The Chenyu, the diamond wisdom of the sutra, acts like a powerful wind that blows away those clouds.
Letting the sun shine through.
Precisely. And that is the meaning of ojia, the inherent reality manifesting once the obscurations are removed. This isn't just theory, it has a direct practical benefit. The sutra's insights and methods can genuinely help practitioners dismantle that false self and cut through stubborn habitual afflictions. It's especially potent for those of us, well, with strong habits.
So really, understanding this foundation, isn't just intellectual curiosity. It's meant to build solid faith, isn't it?
Absolutely. That's a key concluding point in the commentary. Understanding why the Buddha taught this, what reality it's based on, builds unwavering faith. And faith is called the very gateway to entering the path.
The gateway.
Yes. And related to this, the commentary stresses the vital importance of the teacher-student relationship, not just in spiritual practice, but even in worldly learning. A truly effective teacher isn't just someone who knows things or even has realization. There also needs to be that connection, that affinity or karmic link built on trust and respect.
Without that connection.
Even the most profound teachings might not penetrate. They might just, fall on deaf ears. It underscores that famous line from the Avakamsaka Sutra, "Faith is the source of the path and the mother of all meritorious qualities. Faith is fundamental."
Wow. So, wrapping up this deep dive into AK, it really brings home that the Diamond Sutra's core points us directly to the fundamental truth of reality. And the journey to understanding isn't about changing reality itself, but radically shifting how we perceive it, letting go of all that clinging and conceptualizing we normally do.
That's the heart of it. The commentary really pushes us to consider that the gap between our usual, often difficult experience and the clear seeing of an awakened being isn't about them being made of different stuff. It's about the perception.
Which leaves us with a really powerful question for you, the listener, to reflect on. If our everyday reality is so heavily shaped by these misperceptions, these attachments to appearances, what could actually shift in your life if you truly started to see even glimpses of all appearances as non-appearances? What new possibilities might unfold as those rigid walls of your conceptual mind begin to soften and dissolve? Something profound to consider long after we finish today.